On today's show, I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I think we've got to talk about it. Luka Doncic got traded from the Mavericks to the Lakers. How does this impact the Clippers? Because we've played Luka Doncic the most in the playoffs, and it's the Lakers who are in the same city as us. I got a lot to say. Let's talk about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA. Been a Clipper fan for 20 years now. Been covering the Clippers for 5 years on my own personal LA Sports YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and Locked On Clippers here for 3 years, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can get Locked On Clippers wherever you get your podcast. And, of course, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to my own YouTube channel. On this episode, we are going to be talking about the Luka Doncic trade. Now, I know a lot of people might be thinking, why should we talk about him? I hate him. This is not Locked On Mavs. This is not Locked On Lakers. What the hell? Let me be honest with everybody, right? When that news broke, I think every Western Conference host, or damn near every channel of a contending team made something on that, because we're talking about the most shocking trade in NBA history here. And I'm a guy that puts my research in when it comes to NBA history. When we're talking about shocking, nothing can come close to this. Nothing. I mean, we had everyone, even really credentialed media members, questioning whether or not this was fake. And quite frankly, if we want to talk about teams in the Western Conference, who has more to do with Luka Doncic and the Lakers than us? I don't think any team. I think if anyone should be making an episode besides the Lakers and Mavs channels, it should be us. So what the hell? Let's begin with what the hell. Then I'm going to talk about Lakers, and then we're going to go to the Mavs and what, versus the Clippers. What does that mean this season and long term? I thought the same thing as everybody else. This is fake. This isn't real. There's no way the Dallas Mavericks would give up their franchise player. And if anybody knows how dangerous this guy is, it's us. I'm not a huge fan of the way Luka Doncic plays basketball. He whines a lot. He dribbles a lot. He dominates the ball a lot, but he's amazing at what he does. People say he's like a Euro Harden or like a Euro Harden LeBron hybrid without the athleticism and speed, but he's got the strength and amazing shot making and IQ. Here's what I will say about Luka. Despite those criticisms, when a player takes prime Kawhi and Paul George to those, game 6 and game 7 as a kid, as a second and third year player with injured and inconsistent and not a great fit with that team, Kristaps Porzingis as his co-star, and Jalen Brunson before anybody knew he was good and in the NBA level, and also before Jalen Brunson took a huge leap himself and huge leaps as he's continued to take. You're taking us to the absolute, you're taking a win now team and making our fans nervous, making our team, I'm not in the team, so I can't say they were nervous, but making step-back game winners on us in the playoffs. I know it was in the bubble. It's not the same, but it's not like he's afraid of the moment, as we know. Finally, he got, the better of us. Third time was the charm, but Kawhi didn't play, so he had the advantage, like we had the advantage the first couple times. But what we know as Clipper fans about Luka Doncic is he's in that special 1%. He might be, though, or he might end up having a James Harden-like career where he's amazing in individual accolades, but a mixture of luck and his own deficiencies get in the way of him winning a championship. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I feel like Luka Doncic is part of that 1%, like LeBron James, where he could win a championship playing this style. LeBron defended, though. That's the thing about Luka. In the playoffs, highest level, is he a good enough defender? I know he can be serviceable. Like against us, he was fantastic defensively last year in the first round. But when he got to the finals, he got completely exposed. And it was beyond just his lack of foot speed. He didn't even look like he attempted to play defense in that series. So, it was bad. But I think Luka, because of his sheer size and shot making and fundamentals, mainly the size, the 6'7" and the wide shoulders, he might just become, because he's literally younger than me. He's younger than me. So he's still got room to grow. I think he's going to be part of that 1% with LeBron that wins a championship dominating the ball like that. And LeBron, I'm talking about in 2016. You know what I mean? And you can argue 2020. I mean, they really ran through LeBron James in 2020. He deferred to Rondo and Anthony Davis, but that was about it in terms of shot creation on that team. And he did a great job. But that 2016, it was really just Kyrie and him taking turns with the ball in their hands. A lot of the times. Occasional J.R. Smith coming down some pin downs. But it was really just put the ball in LeBron's hands and then Kyrie ISOs and gives LeBron some time off the ball. They won that way, though, in 2016. They won one time. But the Steve Nashes, the James Hardens, the offenses that are that centric through one guy, ball handlers usually don't end up, when that's the system, you know what I mean? When that's the system, it hasn't had the best results in terms of winning championships. So, clearly the Dallas Mavericks felt that was something, and his lack of, conditioning and the weight and the effort he puts into defense is bad from a franchise player. So they agree with me on a lot of things, but I just said he's going to be part of that 1% that wins. I could be wrong on that, and honestly, I pray to God I am. I really pray to God that I am. But I don't know. With this kind of trajectory at age 25, he took his team to the finals last year, and the Mavs traded him. I just couldn't believe it. What the hell? That's my takeaway is what the hell? How could the Mavericks trade their franchise player like this? Their whole MO was, this is the next Dirk Nowitzki. This is the guy that's going to be that European face of the Mavs that's going to stay there forever. They're going to try to give him supporting cast to win a championship. As long as he at least gets one, he's God over there. I thought that was what we were going towards. He was on their trajectory. I mean, he has a chance to be a better basketball player than Dirk. Some argue he's already peaked higher. I don't know. Dirk, he got it done with no co-star, really. I know it's one series, and people might think I'm too big into winning if I say that. I don't give a damn what you say. Because Dirk wasn't a great defender, but he played good enough defense to win that championship. He was surrounded by amazing defenders, Deshaun Stevenson, Jason Kidd, Sean Marion, and Tyson Chandler. That was a lockdown squad. He's the weak link on that. And it's different than playing against today's offense that can target you a little more with the spacing. But nah, man, no excuse. You got to be serviceable in whatever your era is. And Dirk Nowitzki, let's just talk. I want to talk about eras and offense now. Imagine Dirk Nowitzki, the amount of pick and pop threes he's going to be encouraged to shoot. Dirk Nowitzki would average even more points now. That dude was a bucket. But Luka's, whether you disagree or agree with me that Luka's peaked higher than Dirk already, I'm going to just say this. He is going to be better than Dirk, in my opinion, right? If he wasn't better already. They traded a guy like that because he didn't do some things that professionally, and I thought it was hilarious that they were the new owner was quoted talking about Shaq as one of the all-time greats, which Shaq is, but not because of his work ethic. He messed around, and that's why Kobe and him didn't get along. That was part of the reason they didn't get along. But just insanity by the Mavericks. And it's really frustrating that he happened to do it to the Lakers of all teams. I mean, as Clipper fans, especially us that live here, we have to be listening to this nonsense from them. They got gift wrapped a player like this. I mean, the Pau Gasol trade was a fleece, even though Marc Gasol ended up being good, but nobody knew about Marc Gasol back then. So at the time we were like, what is this? What is this trade? Pau Gasol was awesome, but he ain't no Luka Doncic. At 25, you're essentially getting Luka for his prime to build a legacy as the next great Laker when LeBron leaves. And now, Anthony Davis is gone, which is, I'll take that. But we have Luka, the Clipper killer, even though we're 2-1 against him in the playoffs. Let's not forget that. But this guy that always gives us a hard time on the Lakers now, the team we least want to beat us in terms of what's the most annoying. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about what him going to the Lakers does for this season and the long-term basketball scene in Los Angeles. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about TurboTax. Taxes was waiting and wondering and worrying if you were to get any money back, and then waiting, wondering, and worrying some more. Now Taxes is matching with a TurboTax expert who can do your taxes as soon as today. An expert who gives your taxes their undivided attention as they work on your return while you get real-time updates on their progress so you can focus on your day. An expert who will find you every deduction possible and file every form, every investment, everything with 100% accuracy. Also, you can get the most money back guaranteed. No waiting, no wondering, no worries. Now this is Taxes. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live full service. Real-time updates only in iOS mobile app. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right. So let's keep talking about what this Luka Doncic trade does to the Clippers. My first reaction is just, what the hell? I can't believe the Dallas Mavericks would do this. It's going to go down, if he wins any championships, as the worst move in the history, in my opinion, of the NBA in terms of like a franchise trade. Because Luka wanted to be a Mav forever, Mav for life, MFFL, Mavs fan for life. That's their whole thing. It's just unfathomable the way they betrayed him like that. Insane. This Nico Harrison guy, he just like is a weirdo. And just the fact that Rob Pelinka, like who Laker fans were on his head before this trade, was like friends with him and just like gift wrapped him Luka, got Luka gift wrapped for Anthony Davis. And I mean, I think Anthony Davis is a beast. I think he's top 10 player in the league, but this is insane. For one first round pick and Max Christie, who by the way is doing well. And easier to root for Max Christie now that he's not with the Lakers. But speaking of which, Lakers got Luka. What does this do? Well, the Lakers were already kind of climbing ahead of us in the standings, which sucks. But, I mean, look, we don't just like, one thing I kind of dislike about the way some Clipper fans view things, and again, I'm not going to be the police, but I think we pay too much attention to the Lakers. And I know that's ironic given that I'm doing like an episode that's kind of centered around a trade they made, but this is a rarity for this channel, and it's an NBA shockwave. This is an earthquake. And like, we played Luka the most of any team in the NBA in the playoffs, and we literally shared a building for 25 years, and we share a city with these guys. So it's very relevant here. But we as fans, I think, sometimes pay too much attention to the Lakers and what they're doing. It doesn't matter what they're doing. If they're number one seed, it matters. If they're the standard of the bar, it matters. If they're one seed ahead of us in the standings and we're not playing them in the playoffs, it doesn't really matter. We should be ready to play them, matchup-wise, but, it's not all about the Lakers. I feel like some Clipper fans care more about beating the Lakers than winning a championship sometimes. But let me just say this. The standings as they are right now, Lakers are 32-20 and we're 31-23. So they're the 5 seed and we're the 6 seed. So they have 3 less losses and 1 more win. That equates to 2 games back in the standings on ESPN or on any website. Are we going to catch up to them? I think there's a chance still, because how crazy would it be if this is the year? Of course, when Luka comes to the Lakers, we're going to play them in the playoffs for the first time. We've never played the Lakers in the playoffs for the first time. We've never played the Lakers in the playoffs. We're the only Western Conference team that the Lakers have not played in the playoffs, which is insane. I just don't see us playing Luka in the playoffs with him as a Laker going well. Like, he's going to have even more juice to beat us, and it's going to be so annoying if he does. It's like, this guy was the Maverick. He was the Mav. He was the guy, the next GOAT of their franchise. And now he's potentially one of the next best Lakers. Like, that's the thing, right? Beyond this season, how do we match up with them? Honestly, this Clipper team should match up pretty well with Luka and LeBron, because we have a lot of wings that can guard. But, like, Luka and LeBron are special players in terms of, like, creating offensive advantages. So, like, even the best defenders, you can't guard them. You need a real team defense, and we do have that. But like, to me, we don't stand a chance against them, even without their center situation is weird. No Jackson Hayes. I'm sorry, they have Jackson Hayes. This Mark Williams trade got rescinded. So we have a real advantage there with Zoo. But we didn't look very good when they went small last game when we played them, which scares me a little bit. Because, like, there is in the realm of possibilities that we could play the Lakers in the 4-5 matchup or 6-3 for all we know. Who knows? Like, Luka and LeBron could hit it off towards the end of this season and beat some really bad teams in the regular season and, catch a little rhythm. It's Luka and LeBron. Like, I hate that this is a real thing. I'm not going to sit here and say I think the Lakers are going to win the championship this year, though. I'm pretty adamant they're not going to win this year. But to me, their window opened back up, and their window wasn't open. Not to say that ours was necessarily, but I thought we were honestly closer if we got a healthy Kawhi than them. Now it puts another team in the way because Luka is like, in the playoffs, he goes to another level. Like, say what we want about this finals last year, he got to the finals. He destroyed Minnesota, destroyed them. It's the main thing about this, and I labeled this segment Battle of LA, even though I'm not a big into the whole Clippers and Lakers rivalry thing, because to me it's a petty spat in the regular season that has had some years of being interesting. In the beginning of the first 3 decades of this, the Lakers destroyed us, and then we destroyed them for a while, but we never have played in the playoffs, and I think Shaquille O'Neal said it best, that rivalries are built in the playoffs. So if we play them in the playoffs, though, with Luka, I think there finally is going to be something to this Battle of LA stuff. Not to say that we could ever, in my lifetime, I don't think we're going to overtake the Lakers, but I think Ballmer and our fans know it best. We're not here to overtake the Lakers. We're here to become a respectable NBA franchise, which we've become, and to win a championship. That makes us a championship franchise, puts us in a tier with only other franchises that have won. And man, winning with all the games on TV, recorded, that matters. And that's not to diss any of the champions of the old days, but it's like Knicks fans cannot go back and watch the 1970 and 1973 finals in full every single game. You know why? Because I've tried to do it and it doesn't exist. Only 1 or 2 games of those series exist. So like, that's cool too in terms of remembrance. That's part of why the 80s and on get remembered more, is we have the tapes. So, it just puts us in a different conversation. But my takeaway here, guys, and it's an unfortunate one, is the Lakers now have a bigger window. Or like their window has opened back up wider than ours, in my opinion. They have Luka. For the next 5 years, or maybe more, we're going to have to deal with this. And it's like a nightmare to honestly think about. I just hope they fumble it in some ways. The new CBA gets in the way. But here's the thing. This season, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're guaranteed to lose to them if we play them in the playoffs. That's my takeaway here. Despite the fact that this is long-term trash for us as Clipper fans, it is not the end of the world for this season. Would I pick us in a series over them right now? No, because we haven't seen Kawhi at his best. But if we see Kawhi at his best, yes, I would, given the defense that we have. We're just missing Kawhi to be Kawhi, and this team's ceiling could completely change. I just feel like I'm always having this conversation, and I think the guarantee of Luka and LeBron is probably better. But I'm scared that this Battle of LA thing is really going to start happening now when Luka is with the Lakers, and we're going to get our first ever Clipper-Lakers series. I mean, of course, if we win, it's going to be amazing. But if we lose, it's going to be hell. But coming up, going to be talking about how this affects the Dallas Mavericks. Is the rivalry with the Mavericks over for us? Now that Luka's gone, going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Hungry Root. When it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, I've had this ongoing problem. I just don't have the time. Between work, life, and trying to eat healthier, I was constantly feeling stressed out. I'd go to the grocery store, buy things I didn't need, and then end up with no time to actually cook. And sticking to my health goals, that was a struggle as well. But everything changed when I discovered Hungry Root. Honestly, it's been a game changer. It's the easiest way to eat healthy without all the stress. With Hungry Root, it's like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist all in one. They take care of my grocery shopping, recommending meals and groceries based on my tastes and health goals, from anti-inflammatory to high-protein and gluten-free options. And the best part, every meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. I'm talking quick, healthy meals that actually taste great, all delivered straight to my door. It's been a huge time saver and has made healthy eating so much simpler. You're going to love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/lockedonnba and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's hungryroot.com/lockedonnba. Code LOCKEDONNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/lockedonnba. Code LOCKEDONNBA. Don't miss out. All right, let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks, who made the worst move potentially in the history of the league. We have played them in the playoffs 3 times. You know who else we've played in the playoffs 3 times? The Phoenix Suns. You know who else we've played in the playoffs 3 times? The Utah Jazz. You know who else we've played in the playoffs 3 times? Nobody else. It's those 3 teams, right? With Dallas, we're 2-1. With Phoenix, we're 0-3. And with Utah, we're 1-2. We had some heated battles with the Mavs these last couple years. 2020, 6 games in the bubble, hard-fought series. Everyone seeing what Luka could do on the playoff stage, as I mentioned earlier, pushing us to our limits. And then 2021, even crazier, had us down 2-0 after the first 2 home games, down 3-2 going back to Dallas, and then Kawhi turned into, Pete Kawhi, and gave us the best game in Clipper history by an individual in Game 6. But those were some big-time series, and then this last one, he got his revenge, but Kyrie Irving was really the best player in the series for me. Is the Mavs rivalry over? Well, let's look at where they are this season. Right now, they're the 8th seed. They're 30-26. And Anthony Davis might be out for the season. So I don't see Dallas, I don't know if they're going to make the play-in anymore. Because Phoenix is not that far behind. I would take my chances if I'm the Suns, because I don't think the Spurs will overtake the Suns if the Suns just are like, all right, D-Book, KD, let's block out the noise, the trade rumors in the summer. Let's just do what we can, get in the playoffs, and let the Hoopers hoop. Get by Dallas. I think they can do that. Get in the play-in. I'm taking the Suns over the Kings in a play-in situation. Golden State with Jimmy Butler, that could get a little tricky. Houston would be interesting if they dip that much. The Clippers, you just never know. There's endless possibilities. The Lakers, even in a 1 or 2 game situation, you just never know with Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. But my point is, the Dallas Mavericks, I don't know if this rivalry is going to continue unless next year we play them in the playoffs or something. But it really stemmed from Kawhi and Luka. And when Luka walked out and joined the Lakers bench, I was in the wall. I have the vlog on my channel. We were all booing the hell out of him. Booing him like crazy. Luka sucks. We are annoyed with that guy. He's a thorn in our side. He's been a thorn in our side more than any Laker in history because he's played us in the playoffs 3 times. So Kobe never had that with us. He just dominated us in the regular season, and that was that. LeBron has gotten dominated in the regular season until last year when he's been a Laker. Shaq dominated us. Magic in them, was it even a contest back then? I don't even know. Probably not. There's never been a guy that's played for the Lakers that has done this kind of damage to us. Marc Gasol did play for the Lakers, and he gave me nightmares. But this is just different. The Mavs rivalry is over, I think, ladies and gentlemen, unless we play them in the playoffs again next year. But if we don't have Kawhi, I don't think so. I don't think Anthony Davis and a new cast of characters versus like the Kyrie James Harden rivalry is not Clippers Mavs. It stems from the fact that James Harden got annoyed with the whole COVID thing and left. So anyway, I think that's how I put it. Takeaways. How the hell did this happen? Nico Harrison, screw you, dude. Respectfully from all the fans around the league. That was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I can't believe he's on the Lakers. I hate it. Hopefully, LeBron's retiring soon, and then we'll have Luka be paired with a co-star that never helps him win a championship. I hope. But at the end of the day, we're going to do our thing. We got to focus on us, and we're going to be talking about where we realistically can finish this season. What's the ceiling for us realistically, and what we need to do to get there in the remaining games. I'm going to be talking about that on Wednesday. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper content. I'm releasing a big video on Tuesday night, really detailing the events of the last month and what the day was like for me when everything went to shit. I don't know. I don't cuss that much on this show, so like that was kind of, what other way can I say it? Anyway, check it out. That'll be on my YouTube channel, Dime Drop, and wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, make sure you subscribe to this channel, Locked On Clippers. Subscribe on YouTube, hit the notification bell. 7,000 subs before the end of the season, guys. We need to do this. We're trying to pass up some teams. And the newsletter, lockedondaily.com. Sign up. It's written by yours truly and really helps. Also, check out the Locked On West Squad shows that are being posted every week. I actually featured on one this week talking about the general Western Conference. And it's fun to always dip into talking about other teams as well because I love the game. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers. Go Clippers. Go Clippers. If we beat Luka in a Lakers jersey in the playoffs one day, you'll never hear the end of it, Laker fans.